SalesPad, let's see. Yep, SalesPad is a precision cut for operational processes. So the baseline, as I mentioned, is your Dynamics GP, outstanding solution that's been around for many years. Hopefully, there's many more years left in this product, as we're firmly believe that Microsoft will continue to support it into the long future. And so hence we continue to develop and improve upon our SalesPad product. So we do have different layers of operational software that we can add into your Dynamics GP through SalesPad. The first level is the execution. Think of this as your day-to-day operations, things like ordering, quoting, gathering your customers, interacting with your customers, inventory management, all the way through collecting cash, shipping, and so on and so forth. So all those day-to-day operations that occur within your business. And then there's a control layer. So many times you have a lot of manual type of things that you're doing within your operations through your software. We can help you take control over that by automating it to make sure that that process happens the exact same way every time. And then I keep hitting the wrong arrow, but again, and then the top layers are intelligence layers. So we do have some business intelligence capabilities to help you with your process performance to gauge the health of your customer to cash cycle. And we will be doing some additional webinars, as I indicated, covering many of these topics. Really just a quick overview of the various different modules or applications within our Cavallo SalesPad products. So that execution layer, the operations side of your business. We have our CRM, where you can do a lot of various different features and functions, such as counter sales, receivables, recurring sales, resources, RMA, and as well as create your own user-defined fields. We have the configure price quote capabilities, customer portal, dispatch for those customers who maybe have their own fleet of delivery vehicles and want to route and dispatch them out. The equipment module helps you if you're producing any types of products that have serial numbers. You can track them easily through the equipment module. Inventory manager is hopefully very self-explanatory for you. SalesPad is also, you can take it with you wherever you go on your iOS or Android device through our mobile app. Purchasing capabilities, as well as if you're doing a lot of returns types of merchandise within your organization, we can help you track that process all the way through to completion. And then shipping, as well as we do have a bridge product for any of those customers who may be currently using Dynamics GP with SalesPad and are considering making the leap to the cloud with Microsoft's Business Central product. We can help bridge that gap over to BC for your back-end accounting functionality and using SalesPad for your operations. And then the control is that workflow capabilities in our intelligence layers at an analytics cloud. Also like to mention some of the ISV connectors that we have out there. There's a number of Dynamics GP ISVs out there. That's what helps make Dynamics GP such a great product, is that there are a number of companies like us out there who enhance the features and functions and capabilities of this product to make it what it is today. So, for your tax purposes, we got Avalara and Thomson Reuters. For your multi-entity, there's Binary Stream. Shipping, we integrate with FedEx, UPS, and PaceJet. One of our newest integrations is to Key to Act for your field service, with much more coming on that end. AP automation with QuickTag, some e-commerce capabilities through Magento, as well as Shopify, and then some credit card processing capabilities. We integrate with PayFabric and Square. And then EDI with SPS Commerce, just to name a few of those. What are our customers saying about us? One of our customers with Crown, if you've ever watched Bar Rescue, they utilize Crown to produce a lot of the stainless steel bar undercounters, and they do use Dynamics GP with SalesPad. And one of their quotes was their Rockstar CSR went from handling 85 orders per day to 140 with Cavallo, so a 65% increase in its output, which equals to bottom line revenue for you. Control layer. So again, this is the workflow. One of our customers went from 10 clicks down to 1 by just creating an workflow automation, which was a game changer for them. And then business intelligence through our analytics cloud, real-time visibility into the revenue, sales volume, and gross margin allowed one of our customers to see a 99% return on their assets. And then real quickly, so I did mention at the beginning of the webinar, we are doing a 5-part webinar series. Today is this first one with the Cavallo SalesPad overview. You're welcome to join us next month in August for our CRM. And it's Cavallo CRM for Dynamics GP. September, doing the Cavallo Workflow and Analytics Cloud. So again, that automation and business intelligence layer. October 19th, we'll be covering inventory management and shipping. And then to close out the series right before Implementation Specialist GPUG event in November, we'll be going over our Key to Act connector. So we'd love to have you guys join us for any one of these webinars as well. And if that isn't enough, if you're still interested to even learn more about Cavallo and who we are, we do have an on-site customer event coming up in September at the end. You're welcome to join us there to learn even more about who we are, what we can do for your business, for your Dynamics GP or your D365 Business Central needs. And if you're interested to learn more, we can help schedule a private discussion with you, tailor a demo, or review some pricing illustrations. My contact information is listed here. Again, I will share this presentation out. So you're welcome to contact me and I'll help get these scheduled if you're interested to proceed further with Cavallo. And with that, I'm gonna try, click happy here. I'm gonna try to launch this webinar or this video to see if this thing is gonna play for us. It is not for some reason. All right. With that, since it will not play, you can watch that video at your leisure on your own time. And I'm going to kick it over to Ken Gald, our technical sales manager, to run with us and do a demo of SalesPad today. Ken, take it away, sir.
Thanks, Bob. And sounds like the story of the day is some technical challenges. So hopefully mine are okay. I've had a few minutes to iron them out. So tell me if this is coming through, or rather give me a flag if it isn't coming through. So
I'm not seeing your screen yet, Ken, if you are sharing it.
Sure. Getting that part going yet.
Okay, super. There we go. I think.
Which screen are you seeing at the moment?
I'm seeing the fact sheet for SalesPad.
Yeah, okay. So let me do a shift around to take SalesPad up to that area.
There you go. I am now seeing that, sir.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Bob. All right, so just to get a lay of the land, first of all, thanks for the opportunity to share SalesPad with you today. My name is Ken Gald. As Bob had mentioned, I'm the technical sales manager. I've been with the company about 5 years, a little over 5 years, when we were still SalesPad as the company name. Of course, that's still the product, but now we go by Cavallo, and you can see that new image in the background of the room here as well. So we're really proud of that name change. Prior to this, I spent about 10 years with a couple different multinational distributors where I was on their IT teams, assisting with their ERP systems and the technology that supported their thousands of employee users. So it was a couple consumer type products where they were sold through multiple retail channels and so on. So a lot of the same stuff that you're probably dealing with here, the orders coming in from multiple sales channels, sourcing that inventory, holding that inventory, and handling all the operational tasks there. So it's definitely something I very much care about, and I've seen our SalesPad tools really form up to do the same things really well, a really achievable and approachable method of doing so. Really, what we term ourselves as like distributor design tools to transform the operational efficiency. And really that can mean a lot of different things. So how we define it, or how I define it, And how we accomplish those things, I'll show you today. So our objective of transforming operational efficiency in the first level of that I'll talk about is like what Bob had presented about the execution level controls. The execution level are those things that really are just executing the day-to-day operations. There's nothing specifically advanced about that, but being able to do that in an easier way, having better access to information, really can make that day-to-day task or those day-to-day tasks just much better to execute in SalesPad. So with that, like the screen that's being presented at the moment, I'll actually kind of change it up a little bit. The user interface is actually one of the first and foremost things that customers enjoy working with SalesPad. It's easier to navigate around. It supports the multitasking day-to-day type of things that we have to do in a couple different ways as well. So I'm set up as a system administrator, so I have a lot of different functions available to me here, but generally it's going to look like the modules that you're enabled for across a ribbon at the top here. And this is most of them enabled in my environment. You'll see things in here around like inventory management, purchasing, and sales. Again, those operational day-to-day types of tasks. Within this, you've got different controls to drill into the functions as well. What those are going to do is open up into tabs at this lower level. So you can navigate and move between the tabs very easily, again, supporting that multitasking type of functionality that we need to do. We even go as far as, say, like with a customer search, you don't necessarily have all the information, whether it's searching customers, searching items, and other things. Very easy to navigate around those. Small piece of information, hopefully help you identify the right record. So in a view like this, you might get an incoming phone call where I can put in the phone number, search, and the results will be shown in this grid here. Presents a lot of information on screen all at once, rather than being able to, or rather than having to kind of navigate between search screens, for instance, in GP, it's very easy to grab that information here. So I could put in, for instance, that a customer is calling in with a 312 area code. Phone number contains 312, and those records are filtered to match. Maybe they introduce themselves. We'll go with the one at the top of the list, Ashley. Well, Ashley at that 312, well, here's your customer account. Let's click into that. What will happen there, it'll open up a customer card, which I'll bypass this notes area first. And what you'll notice is that if I've currently got 2 customer cards open, so maybe I was doing a little research on account for Aaron Fitz Electrical. I was in their customer card. Meanwhile, that phone rang. I needed to answer something else for another customer. I do not have to backtrack out of the progress I was making for Aaron Fitz in order to take that other more timely call from Ashley. So just being able to do that multitasking with the tabs there makes it really easy to navigate around the system and be more productive. Around that search as well, the customer searching, the grids that are presented in here are highly flexible. So if you have other things you'd like to see in this view from, say, a coworker or someone with a different role in the organization, they're really flexible, and you can bring open a column chooser and grab additional pieces of information as well. For instance, I'll drop in birthday. Now, I don't populate that for most of them, but you can see, well, Aaron Fitz, here's a birth date on file for him. That type of information, I just dropped it in there as an additional attribute around the customer here, and it becomes available for me to search on as well. If you're done, if you no longer want that in your view, it's as simple as clicking and dragging that out, and that field is restored back to original. So these grids are really flexible in being able to present a lot of information quickly, search for it quickly, and hope you identify the customer record you're dealing with. Really, that's meant to support locating answers more quickly rather than having to get back to customers later. You'll have the information at your fingertips that you need, so you kind of can achieve that first call resolution we've heard from customers before. Jumping into another area where we consolidate a lot of information to make it really powerful is the customer card. Now, the customer card, again, it's probably familiar with some of the things you might see here from GP, customer classes, price levels, currency, and so on. Additionally, like billed to and shipped to addresses maintained on the account. But going beyond that, maybe just to simplify the view, because there's a lot going on there, I'll minimize the ribbon. We present a lot of additional things about the customer that really is meant to support the day-to-day operations and that first call resolution type metrics or KPIs here. Open sales documents is one example. Customers are most likely to be calling in and inquiring about their documents that are currently open. So, okay, tell me about that invoice that we created there. So I can search where type contains invoice or INV, and I've got that record. Or, hey, my PO number, ORD 721, can you tell me about that one? Oh, yep, I've got it here, and I can click through into the document, the quote in this example. So again, the grid being able to find that information quickly, so you can open it, work with the customer to resolve the questions or the inquiry. Now down at the tab level, you'll see numerous other things here, just really honed in on things that we've had over the years that customers have needed from us. Being able to look into customer AR information, maintaining notes, the contact addresses, some certain pricing controls at the customer level as well. You'll see all those kinds of things at the customer card level. A couple that are really powerful for that answering questions would be something like item history or the sales doc history. I won't drill into these too deep, but the nature of the type of information we can give here is the customer might say, hey, tell me that last time I bought that AED, Heart Start AED. I can quickly query AED or contains AED, and I can see on this invoice back on April 27th, they purchased 1 unit of it for about $1,700 with an AED accessory as well in that same document number. So the item, the total there, around $1,800 was captured on that invoice back in April. If you wanted to then jump into that document, you can click through to it, opens up the order screen, and you can create returns, answer more questions, whatever the next stage might be there. So this gives you really that item level information to search what the customer is purchasing, how frequently they purchase, what they typically pay, and that kind of information from here. Sales document tabs somewhat similar, but this is at the doc level. So I can see in the last 3 months on open and historical invoices, I have 23 of them, being able to put some summary information here for a total of about just shy of $17,000. So really quickly, I can gauge a lot of information about this customer. What's their volume? What's their contribution here for the revenue that they're driving? I can see quickly in the last 3 months about $17,000. Now reports can be built on that, but this gives it all in one place. So it makes it really easy to gather that information quickly. Now I won't drill into a lot of the other controls and so on that we have for the customer card here, but you can obviously see it's quite in depth with the number of tabs and details that we can capture on there. Jumping into the next area that gives some of the easier controls, jumping into a sales order or quote order, invoice, or return directly from the customer card is really easy. It brings open a sales order entry screen in a new tab where I can still navigate back to the customer to look at some of their prior information while completing that new order. Really, as I go through, I can start adding line items here, putting in an item number. It's going to pull through the relevant pricing for that customer. And then I've got some really handy features that are enabled here as well, like being able to see inline inventory availability. Got 165 on hand, 101 available. So if a customer needs to order 10 of these, great. We are all set. We know that we're good to go. Other controls around this, we might have things that we need to pull through, like the AED. Maybe we don't know the exact item number, but I'll put that in there and tab off, and it'll launch into the inventory lookup screen. Within this view, I can see the AED information and inventory at a greater level of detail as well. So I'll see that AED, how many do we have, and where do we have it? So we have on hand 4 of them, 1 allocated, leaving me 3 available, but also 10 of them on order. So we can commit this one and say, yep, we're good for that for the customer as well. We'll add that on there. If it happened to exceed available inventory, you'll get some visual cues as well. There's an issue here. So right from the get-go, the customer service rep or whoever's entering this order will be clued in that there's going to be an issue here. So you can get ahead of it. Maybe you make a suggestion for an alternate item, or at least just set the right expectation with the customer that there's a shortage there. So as we enter the customer or enter the order, we've got a lot of tools there around, say, like inventory visibility and other controls that we'll talk about in a moment as well. So I'll save this order off for now, and we'll come back to that one later. Another way that we really support the operational efficiency, so the transforming operational efficiency, we have these distribution-centric features that integrate with the ERP system, being Dynamics GP and for the SalesPad software here. This works directly with GP, so there's no need to manage synchronizations or reconciliations between the systems. This helps us achieve basically a single source of truth for customers, orders, inventory, the item records, unit of measure schedules, all of those different things. They're basically one-to-one equivalent with GP. It's real time, but it keeps the users outside of the accounting system as well, which a lot of our customers really appreciate. Just to give you an example of what that common data source looks like, there's often these buttons here for Dynamics GP at the, say, the customer level, or if we jump back to the order that we were working with before, at the order level. Now what that looks like is I happen to be running GP in parallel. I have that running kind of in the background here. I don't need to. I can be licensed just for SalesPad. But I wanted to illustrate to you here that if you wanted to, you can click that Dynamics GP button on an order, and here is that exact order in SalesPad, or sorry, in GP. At this point, if you wanted to make some changes to it, say increase that quantity to 11, say sure, let's go ahead and do that. It's looking for for bin information on there, so I'm going to make a quick update on that. So I have to make a bin selection. We'll hit OK and save that. So we change the quantity to 11 in GP. Bring that back open in SalesPad. That one-to-one linkage there, that reflects the change immediately. And we can continue to do that all day if we wanted. It's going to keep those two in sync directly. Even more so than in sync, it's actually writing to the same table. So it's not even true to call it a sync procedure. That single source of truth makes it really easy from a maintenance standpoint. So everything that you have in SalesPad here is going to be directly linked, makes reporting easier, because the reporting tools, whether you're using them from GP like Smart Lists or our reporting tools around quick reports or dashboards, having that common source of data makes it easy to combine all the great stuff you might be used to in GP with the additional things that SalesPad brings into a consolidated report without having to have complex table joins and links built out there. So the nature of the integration with GP is a direct one. To that point, there's I kind of classify it as 3 types of data in the system as well. There's native GP data, so the things you're used to in GP around customer, or in the case of the customer here, the properties that you're familiar with here. There's additional things that we add, so we make SalesPad just natively brings a lot of additional data into the database as well, or even to a third level, the third type being user-defined fields. So for example, if I wanted to capture additional attributes about my customers, GP has a pretty limited number of these, but we have a really large number of these that we can enable, say at the customer level here. These user-defined field tabs, I can right-click and manage my layout to bring the types of fields into view that I would like to see. So I've got a selection of pretty assorted fields here. You can see there's things that I can type into here, free text. There's drop-down types of fields. There's dates, file paths that you can quickly link open to open the related document. Image types, like we've got a logo on file here, checkboxes. So there's a range of them, and you can organize them into logical groupings based on tabs in that layout management. This is really handy also at an item level. So if I bring open an item where I might have very specific attributes around my items that I want to see, this gives you a way to be able to build out those attributes and view them. So these eyeglasses, I've kind of got it broken across 2 tabs at the moment, but you can have an image or different attributes, like a customer's looking for male, gender, material, metal, spring hinge glasses. Well, those are now searchable because I've got all that data in here as well. So if I'm back at the, or if I'm back at this other level, I can bring in, say, gender in my column chooser as one of the fields. And now I can search for, like, show me all male or female gender glasses with a quick search there by that additional attribute. So those are the user-defined fields, and they're really powerful to be able to capture attributes about items, customers, orders, and other areas. But it's also can dynamically drive how things are handled in the system as well. Like, does a customer want to receive an invoice via email or not? That could also be a user-defined field that can dynamically control things in the system as well. So that's a couple of the real features around that control area that we really support, and having it directly tied in with GP as well. Now, another level that Bob had introduced as well is the ability to streamline complicated manual processes, accelerating productivity and increasing revenue levels. So we take that control piece that we've now established. We've got a lot of tools to support that. We really want to then layer on the execution piece. So now as it gets into, we've covered the execution piece. Now we want to have the control to make sure things are being processed in the correct way and with the rules applied appropriately. So the control piece that we then build on that, for instance, like the order that we've been creating here, I can do a couple different things that I really want to enforce that I've got the proper control over this. And that's where our workflow processing comes in. So these automations, for instance, when I create an order, I can drive a couple of unique things to happen. For this one, for instance, I'm going to trigger a couple scenarios on purpose where I want to mark an item. I'm going to trigger it to a back order. So I'm going to actually delete the fulfillment on there. I'm going to change my scenario a little bit. I'm going to trigger a back order manually on this item. And I have an item here where I've got a 0.06% margin. So really this order is a bit of a mess, but we get the items that we want in there the way we want that. I can save that off, and I'm going to then release. What this is going to do is trigger a few different things based on the automations that are being created in that workflow. It gives me, first of all, based on a plugin I have set to run, the ability to split the document. Now it's 2 line items. It's on document order 3418. Based on criteria like, well, is it back ordered? Maybe I want to split the document. So ship those items we have today and back order the rest because we need to do some purchasing or production activities. I will end up, if I accept this, with 3418.1 and .2. And then I can manage those independently in workflow, but I can still bring these back together to invoice them as one invoice document. I'll go ahead and accept that. That'll create the split. Now I even had some rules enforced here as well. So the rules that I particularly had in place was that 3418.1 evaluated that it had a low margin item. I forced that to have an extremely low margin on it, 0.06%. It was evaluated to be out of tolerance. So it's had a margin hold applied and it's moved to a margin review queue. Meanwhile, the other item that I triggered the back order for, manually in my example, was found to evaluate true and a back order hold has been applied and it's moved to a purchase queue. So none of this has hit the warehouse. This order is a mess. It's not ready to go. We have nothing we can ship at the moment or nothing we choose to ship, like in the case of the margin control there, because it's just not a suitable order to be released to the warehouse yet. So where did that order go is the next piece of it. And in my example, I'll bring you to Sales Monitor. As the name implies, this is the monitor view to see where orders have landed in the system. Firstly, on the left-hand side, you can see the order type and the different queues or batches that we've got established. It starts as a new order, margin review, and purchase. That's actually the couple we'll focus on today. If an order were all clean and everything had been in stock, appropriate margins, everything looked good, it would have maybe moved to pick, pack, and ship in a normal order sense. But I've got these other areas that it landed for now. And I know that the document that we're looking for, it contained 3418, and I can see .1 in the margin review, 3418.2 in the purchase queue. So from a user's perspective, they can see, well, maybe I'm the sales manager, something landed in this margin review queue. I need to go and check this margin, or perhaps approve it and release it to picking, or go back and make a correction. So maybe I'll come in here and say, well, what do I need to do? Okay, this floor brush item, there's 12 of them, too low of a margin. We're gonna change the price to 24 on this one, 33% margin, and we'll say that that's actually the appropriate price, and I'll clear the hold, and I can release this to workflow now, and it'll move ready to pick. It now falls within the appropriate margin so that it's released to the warehouse. Meanwhile, the other one that ended up in the purchasing queue, there's a back order. I perhaps need to check where, if I have inventory throughout the organization, so I've got a plugin here for availability, I can see like, oh yeah, I have 3 of these at the warehouse. Perhaps then I fulfill it from that location, or fulfill it from another warehouse that I'm ordering for. So you've got cross-organization inventory visibility. Or you determine that, well, actually I need to purchase this, so I'm gonna run a plugin here. We've got a range of different plugins for really specialized functions. I'll do purchase order generation, and in the background, in a very hands-off way, I've now got a PO for that item linked to the sales order. Now the purchase order here, I'll point it out, won't go into a ton of detail. It can have a workflow of its own. So this landed in a purchase requisition queue. Maybe I release it, and it's then moved to an approval queue in this example, and it has its own monitor as well. So we'll say, great, that one's out for approval. The PO has been created. It just needs to be approved and cut to alleviate this back order. Meanwhile, the document is just going to move through its queues in its natural progression based on all the controls that we have in place. So as it moves through to the next stages, we can trigger emailed or printed outputs as well. A really powerful feature on that one is such that maybe an order is moving through shipping, completed its shipping stage. So I'll kind of just focus directly in on the shipping. Once this document has completed shipping, it might be moving to the invoice queue. We can trigger at that point a notification to the customer. Your order has shipped. Here's your tracking number, your bill of lading number. And that can be done in an automatic way. The benefit of something like that is that the customer is proactively informed with an automatic email that's been sent to them with their tracking information. So they're not going to be calling in, hey, where's my order? Where you have to go in and do the research and answer that for them. It just gets them the information, sets the proper expectation with them, and they're informed and happy, and everyone's got the info they need. So it's those types of automations that we can do in there as well, around cutting POs, printing the outputs, enforcing the business rules to make sure you've got that tight level of control. And that's one of the ways we also transform operational efficiency there as well. And enforce profitability actually as just another key part there. Like in that margin review, we're not going to accept orders with an insufficient margin, so that the revenue level profitability control is enforced there as well. The last part really that we also achieve for being able to accomplish the operational efficiency is that we unite the business-wide operations into a single hub for reliable information. So what that really means is we include a lot of our own tools in the one application. So this becomes the operational hub for all of the functions around, say, inventory management, purchasing. There's some AR features and functions in there as well. We've got things around serialized equipment management, manufacturing and assembly orders and bills of material, and a range of other functions as well. So being pretty open-ended on that one, but we have tools just around the purchasing and restocking, the shipping, creating labels, the collection of the payments, really to support the end-to-end order to cash processes that are being run. Being able to do this as a business-wide operations hub as well also means that we operate within an ecosystem of other connections out to other systems as well, not just GP, but also other e-commerce sites and EDI connectivity and payment processing, tax automation. So there's a range of other add-ins that are available as well for instance, like being able to capture on a document, being able to call out through Avalara, Thomson Reuters for tax automation, as an example. So there's the control of doing that there. There's also the ability to handle EDI processing. So you might end up with new EDI orders come in and move through their own workflow because they're handled perhaps a little bit differently. So that enables opening up to new markets and trading partners, being able to communicate with them through EDI channels and have them just land in your workflow. That's really beneficial in that you don't have to rekey data, say from a procurement portal from the customer, or even from something like SPS's own fulfillment portal. Instead, you would be able to bring the orders through and have them land directly into SalesPad with no rekeying of data whatsoever. And on the e-commerce side as well, we could have things come in where they land in as e-commerce orders, and you can bring the information in there as well around additional fields like the e-com order number, for instance. Now, many of these haven't come in by e-com, so they're not going to be recognized as having an e-com order number. But there's the ability to integrate those orders so that they land in your directly into your workflow, and you can start to fulfill the e-commerce orders as well. Now we have links out to like Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, and other sites as well, but those being the main three. Now that saves a lot of the same type of requirement of eliminating the need to rekey data from an e-commerce site before they just land in perhaps the ready to pick queue and start to get fulfilled. We turn around and we also send data back to those e-commerce sites. So things like fulfillment information, tracking numbers, and inventory levels and item records are all kept in sync with the e-commerce site as well. So the inventory push up to the site is also a really big advantage that helps keep those stock levels in check with your GP inventory. So really, we operate in this ecosystem and we enable connectivity beyond what GP has, and then it's able to take advantage of the execution and control features that we have in here, such as the workflow and the automations that are built into SalesPad natively. So the kind of the closing thought on that one, in terms of transforming operational efficiency, being able to unite those into a single source of truth is another great feature that SalesPad enables distributors and GP users alike. So with that, hopefully you got a great sense of the things that we're able to do. It branches a lot more beyond that, and those are going to be featured in some of the upcoming webinars as well. I wanted this to be really a overall look at just the user interface, consolidating a lot of that information into a single source of truth, and then how to execute, at this point, a little research into a customer and entering a new order and releasing that to workflow. So I think that hopefully gave an overview of those transactions, but also the value that they bring by being able to give it in a single source here and increasing the visibility of information and workflow rules and controls being applied along the way as well. So with that, I'll turn it back over to well, Bob Brush. I'm not sure if you had any kind of closing thoughts on that, but or Q&A at this point. Otherwise, I'll consider the demo part a wrap.
Awesome, Ken. Thanks for the great demo. Great quick overview of what SalesPad's capabilities are for your business operational needs. But yeah, definitely if there's any questions, you're welcome to share them now, or you're free to go ahead and ask them. My contact information is listed in the presentation as well. Would be happy to address any questions at any point in the future, or we can set up any private discussions, whether you want to learn more, see a demo, or look at some pricing illustrations or options. We're happy to help out in those regards as well. But those are the closing thoughts I had. Chad, is there anything else we'd like to add today?
Just a couple of things, guys. Once again, thanks for your presentation on SalesPad today. That was awesome. Once again, I want to apologize to everybody for the technical issues. We'll get those ironed out for next time. But I do want to mention, I forgot to mention at the beginning, there is a PDF available in the handouts section. So if you want to, on the fact sheet for SalesPad, so if you want to check that out really quick and download that to your browser, you certainly can. And also the recording will be available to everybody. Bear with me a second. I'm going to pull up my screen.
And while you're pulling that up, we also have our other webinars listed out on the Implementation Specialist's website. So we'd be happy to have you join us on one of those upcoming webinars for the next 4 months.
Yes, exactly. Well, like Bob mentioned, we'll have the series, and the next one will be August 14th at 1 o'clock, same time, and you'll be on the lookout for those invites and social media posts as well to invite everyone to those as well. I do want to mention really quick. Oh, and I should mention too, the recording will be available to everybody who registered, as well as being on our website in our events library. So be sure to look out for that. GPUC 2022, I just want to throw out a quick mention about that coming up in November from the 14th to the 18th. Make sure you check that out and have that on your schedule. Just want to throw that out there quick, just in care, make everybody aware of the dates. And other than that, thanks again, everybody, for your time today. Appreciate your patience with all the technical glitches. We'll have those ironed out for next time. But otherwise, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Cavallo. Thank you to Cavallo for their patience as well. And thanks for the great presentation on SalesPad. And if you have any questions about SalesPad or any of our other wonderful Dynamics GP products, please feel free to reach out. Once again, I'm Chad, and I'm the marketing manager, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have for Cavallo or myself. So with that being said, thanks again, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll talk to you again soon, and we'll see you for the next one on August 14th. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.